In the small hours, the knock comes the way trouble always does, polite first. 3 taps, evenly spaced. The man inside the upstairs apartment is awake already, listening to the air vent rattle and the refrigerator cycle on and off. He opens the door on the chain and finds 2 kids on the landing. Their clothes are clean but wrong for December. No coats, no hats. The older one, maybe 12, smiles like he practiced in a mirror. "We're lost," he says. "Can we come in and use your phone?" The man glances past them to the empty stairwell. The parking lot glows sodium orange, and there isn't a car door ajar or a parent in sight. He looks back and notices what everyone notices last. Their eyes are dark from lid to lid. No color at all, just black that drinks the hallway light and gives nothing back. The younger one steps forward until the chain pulls tight. "It won't take long," he says, careful and formal, the way a kid talks in a school play. "We can't come in unless you say it's okay." Every animal sense in the man wakes up at once. He shuts the door on instinct, presses his palm to the peephole, and hears the older boy speak again in that soft, unhurried tone. "You should let us in." Another 3 taps. When the man looks a second time, the landing is empty. He checks the stairwell and finds no one moving down the steps and no prints in the frost. He leaves the lights on until dawn. Stories like that began to surface in the late 1990s, when message boards were how you said a strange thing out loud and didn't get laughed out of the room. The names and towns changed, but the skeleton stayed the same. A knock at an hour when neighbors don't visit. 2 children where children don't usually stand. Speech too clean. A request that sounds harmless. Use the phone, borrow a ride, wait inside until a parent arrives. Then the detail everyone remembers even years later. Eyes so black, the room seems to tilt around them. The pattern moves like a road map. A couple on a long highway sees 2 kids on the shoulder under a green exit sign. The cardboard they hold says home. The driver slows and cracks the passenger window. The girl steps forward. "We can't get in the car until you invite us," she says. Her irises are gone. The boy at her shoulder never blinks. The couple pulls away so fast the door doesn't close right the first try. They argue for 6 miles about turning back, then keep going because neither one can make their hands move in any direction but forward. A woman in a suburb hears a knock during a storm. 2 kids in soaked t-shirts stand on the porch and say their mother will be here soon. Could they wait inside to get dry? The woman notices their feet aren't leaving wet prints. She opens the door 2 inches. Heat pours out into the night like the air on either side doesn't want to mix. The girl smiles without showing teeth and repeats the script. "We can't come in unless you say it's okay." The woman closes the door and turns off every light. She stands in the hallway while rain needles the windows and listens to 3 more evenly spaced taps that come from nowhere she can point to. Some people let them in. Those accounts are thin and breathless and often appear once and never again. A man says 2 boys asked to use the bathroom. He stepped aside. The room felt as if someone had turned down the oxygen. His nose started to bleed, then stopped as suddenly as it started. The older boy asked where the phone was. The younger one walked through the house like he already knew it, pausing at the doorway of the bedroom where a baby slept. The man says he heard a scraping sound inside his own ears, like radio static with the volume low. He told them to leave. They didn't argue. They didn't even look back. The next morning, every smoke detector in the house chirped in sequence until he pulled their batteries and left them on the kitchen counter like dead birds. Another family tells it in pieces. Their power flickered when the kids crossed the threshold. The dog hid under the couch and wouldn't come out for hours. The older child asked for milk in a voice that fit the words but not the age. After they left, the parents fought for days about whether the kids even had eyebrows. Details slip like that when fear edits the memory, but the bones of the story hold. The asking, the consent, the pressure in the room, the silence afterward that sticks to the walls. The black-eyed kids don't act like runaways. They don't beg, they don't cry, and they don't explain. Whatever they are, the rules seem to matter. They wait for permission, like a password. They speak in sentences that feel memorized. When a homeowner reaches for a phone to dial the police, the kids remind them what has to happen first. You need to say we can come in. People who refused describe dread that hangs over the house for days, then lifts like weather moving on. People who agreed say that dread lingers longer and moves its weight around the rooms at night. Over the years, new technology slips into the script. A doorbell camera records a minute of polite knocking and a blank frame. No faces, just that even pressure of someone standing too close to the lens. Motion lights don't trip. Smart locks log no open. Owners review the footage a dozen times and then tape a paper square over the camera for a week because the glass keeps reflecting their own faces back at them with pupils that look too large. Skeptics explain what they can, prankers with costume contacts, eye conditions that swallow the iris, memory that stitches dreams into waking hours. People who've read one account and unconsciously copy it the next time a kid with a hoodie shows up selling magazine subscriptions. People are good at scaring themselves. But the accounts that stick aren't the grand ones. They're the small ones, the fish tank filter ticking as the kids stand in the doorway. The older boy's careful way of saying telephone, like he learned the word from a movie. The dirt crescents under clean nails. The single pale freckle on a cheek that somehow makes the black of the eyes worse. There's a motel story from the Midwest, the kind of place with doors that open straight to the parking lot. Around 1 a.m, a traveler hears a knock and sees 2 kids under the orange light. They ask if they can come in and warm up. The traveler gestures toward the office and says the clerk can help. The older one answers, "We can't come in unless you ask us." The traveler slides the safety chain and says he'll bring them a blanket. By the time he returns, the walkway is empty, the ice machine hums steady, the lot wide open to the highway, and no footprints on the wet concrete. There are people who call a pastor the next day and ask for a blessing over the threshold. There are people who run a line of salt across the door and laugh at themselves while they do it. There are people who install new locks and more cameras and then never review the footage. The advice traded in these circles all says the same thing in different accents. A boundary is a simple thing until someone asks you politely to move it. Practice your answer before you need it. You don't have to believe any of it. You can stack the accounts and pick out the shared parts like a recipe. But even if you reject the whole pile, you'll feel the shape of the fear they're built on. It isn't about monsters tapping at a window. It's about the instinct that tells you not to invite certain trouble inside. We live by open doors, apps that sign us in, smart devices that listen, deliveries on the porch. Yet the oldest rule is still the simplest. Some thresholds exist to be kept. If you ever hear that soft knock after midnight and find 2 kids on your step with eyes that don't catch the light, you'll remember these words whether you meant to or not. Keep wood and air between you. Use your voice. Let your no stand on its own legs. If you need a reason, use this one. The rules matter to them. The rules can matter to you. Thank you for listening to The Lantern's Tale. Subscribe for more true stories, if you dare.